Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Gio Aretos with the Real Estate Investment Group and broker at Nationwide Realty. Hope you're all having a good start to your week. It's Monday, August 8th. It's around 11:30 a.m. Pacific at the time of this recording. I'm giving you this because it's an update to the market and y'all need to know about it. In the last update that we did less than 30 days ago, my caveat was at the time that if something happens to change of the items that I was forecasting, then we're going to give an update. So one of those things actually has changed. More than one of these things has changed. So I wanted to give another update so that you're all up to date on things and know what to be telling your clients. So in the last one that I updated, I had mentioned that the water authority here in Nevada had not imposed any real significant restrictions. And between that time, it actually happened like 2 days after I made the video, we received notification that the state of Nevada has now formally put guidelines on what we can and can't do with our landscaping. That's been that way for a little bit, but they got a little bit harsher on it. They're really cracking down on water usage. You're not allowed to install any more grass, not allowed to build any new golf courses. So some things have changed, some restrictions have changed. Nothing lifestyle related has changed, but they are cracking down on things like leaks, and they're really starting to turn the tables. Another thing too that I found interesting, I read an article, and I don't know the full purity of the article, if it was 100% accurate or not. I mean, in this day and age, you never know what you can believe and what you can't believe, but I did find this interesting. The article said that the authorities that are taking care of the water problem at Lake Mead found that one of the reasons that the lake level is so low is that an intake valve wasn't functioning properly. So the way that it was explained was almost like an autofill on a pool, and their autofill on a pool was broken and not filling the lake the way or at the rate that it's supposed to. Now, I don't know how much of that is accurate or true, but even if a portion of it is, I mean, I don't think it's like you're walking into Lowe's or Home Depot and saying, I need a 25-foot water valve autofill. I don't think they're carrying that in stock. So I don't know what the actual procedure is going to be, or if that is, fixable, or what they're going to try to do with it. But I did read that, and that was pretty interesting to me. So it sounds like they at least have identified a problem that can be fixed. I just wonder how long it'll take for them to do that. What's going to happen now as a result of that formal announcement is you are going to see prices, what I consider to be stalling. Okay, important to use the right terminology when you're talking to your clients, and just in general, if you're an investor or a buyer, understand what these terms mean. The stalling of prices is the velocity of the market now has slowed. In fact, I had a couple of agents even refer, it seems like general kind of advice that many agents and brokers are giving their clients, which I don't fully agree with, but it's no longer a seller's market. Well, I don't know that you can say that in a full extent, because inventory is still low. To say that it's really a buyer's market fully is to say that there's lots of inventory choices out there, and there still is not a ton of inventory, a little bit more than regular, but not a ton, and days on market are still pretty low. So I think that it still is a seller's market, but it's a seller's market for realistic sellers, for sellers who aren't out there now understanding. Sellers are not trying to get crazy prices anymore, but actually understanding what the value of their house really is at. And so that little gap there between the top and the bottom is what I'm calling stalling prices. So I think we're at a price stagnation. And it's a range stagnation that you're going to see. I saw this in stock markets, in the commodity markets, many, many times during my experience in trading. And it's going to be range-bound prices. So there will be a top, there will be a bottom. It's too early to know what those are, but once I'm able to figure them out, I'll tell you what they are. Right now, they're forecasting, many of the big houses are forecasting that there's going to be a drop in appreciation this year. But this was the most interesting thing that I saw, was a formal article by Zillow, that Zillow's forecast is that instead of growing 9.8%, which is what originally was forecasted, it's only going to grow 7.4% year over year prices. And so that is now considered a price decrease by most people, but I tend to side with Zillow on this. That I do not think that there's going to be a reduction in prices. I mean, locally, and you might see pockets around the areas, especially in Las Vegas, you might see some pockets that are overbought, but generally speaking across the board, especially for properties that sit in the middle of the market and properties that sit $1 million and above, which would be, jumbo loan limit kind of products, I think you're going to see rainbound trading, and you're going to see prices stagnate and hold at a level that is still pretty high. And I do think you're going to continue to see, as long as inventory remains the way it is, and I cannot see inventory increasing anytime soon. Too much huge money coming into our markets, buying up tracts of homes. One of the brokers that I talked to this week happens to be a friend of mine, also told me he represents one of the biggest buyers in town. When I found out who it was, I looked, they have done so much purchasing of single family homes. They're turning our market is turning into a rental market, and that's driving rental rates up. Continued now. This is the 6th year in a row, over 8%, some areas over 15%. Rental rates are still going up. They're creating a rental market. I don't see prices falling in any significant fashion. I still think that if you're in the market to buy a house and you want to buy one, your choices are going to be limited, and you're going to pay what the house is actually worth. You're not going to be overpaying. Definitely if you're a buyer, submit offers that are lower than the asking price right now. There's a good chance you'll get it, because what happens in the market is these are the people now who have waited. They've waited long, they've tried to wait out this whole rise, and now they're realizing they waited too long. And so there is, I can no longer ask this ridiculous price. I'm going to ask less, but the price that they're asking is actually what I'm seeing from a numbers perspective, from a pure mathematics perspective, looking at the transactions that are closing. I think they're actually what the intrinsic value of the properties are now. How do I figure that out? I take the average price that it costs to build new construction, and then I add and subtract the premium to be able to figure out what that range is. And right now, the range is in line with new home building. And that's another reason too that you're seeing that new home building is also stalling, but it's not because of demand. It's because of the lack of supply of materials and labor. So it's what I do think, let me rewind before I go off too far. What I do think we will see as an effect of the water, though, is you're going to see that migration is going to continue at a strong path, but that those people are not going to be able to afford a home, so they're going to rent. And that's why I think the prices are going to stabilize and not really drop, because if you do get a price fluctuation where you've got higher interest rates, and those may come down a little bit. Now we're hearing they may come down a little bit instead of go up a little bit. Either way, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a certain population that's here to get a job, that needs a place to live, but they can't afford a house. And so they're going to pay rent. And that's going to be what the majority of and that is going to be great for our economy, though, because after those people that are renting do have solid jobs and they stay here for a couple of years, when the rest of the market down in 2023 to 2024, once that part of the market that is in other parts of the country where they're not seeing the stabilization of jobs and such, you will see price dips around that time. We're forecasting Q3, Q4, or Q1, 2 of 2024. It's looking more like Q1, 2 of 2024, where we'll see a nationwide drop in prices. That'll be something that'll be significant, or at least sizable. Vegas isn't going to see it because you're going to have all these qualified buyers, so that when the prices drop a little bit, those people have been saving up for a couple of years. They got down payments, they got steady jobs, they have good credit. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to see another housing price boom around that time. And I think it's going to be stagnant until then. So it's still a good time to get in. And I still think it's going to be a good time because we're not going to see that price fluctuation, but houses are going to be affordable and people are going to start buying them. So I see continued upward prices in our homes, especially over the $1 million mark, because prices between 1 million and 2.3 million for most everybody else in the country that's moving here, the price per square foot is so attractive to them that $1 million buyers, especially $1 million+ like 1.7 to 2.2 million buyers, they can get more house here than they can get almost anywhere else. The houses are going to be newer. They're going to be less maintenance, less problems in beautiful areas with low taxes. It's going to have every reason. That market is going to continue to take off. If you're a luxury agent, you're going to have a great few years if you aren't already. Values of those properties are going to be low. So I'm very bullish still on the market in Las Vegas in general, real estate market. That applies to residential. That forecast applies to residential. Commercial is still going to see steady price increases. They're just not going to happen as fast. Industrial is still going to see heavy price increases because it is now still and continuing to be not only the most underserved, but also the most that's being built. Industrial is building up all over, especially in the south side of town. If you haven't been there, you need to take a ride. and go and check it out and see what's actually happening. Most people in Las Vegas are clueless that the south side of town is becoming a logistics area for companies all over the country, especially in the West Coast. So it's really driving. You're going to see development of Sloan. It already is getting developed. We worked with a group that has a project out there, 2 projects out there they're developing now. Lots and lots of stuff is happening, especially in the south part of Las Vegas. So we're good. Prices are stagnant. If you do have to sell if you do have to sell a house, make sure you're talking with a qualified agent, like somebody on the REIG or somebody from Nationwide that knows their numbers. Be happy you can reach out to us if you want to talk. It can help you to determine what the real value of your property should be. So if you're listing a house, or if you're thinking about this one, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to run the numbers. It's real quick for us to do, to give you an idea of what your house is really worth in the market, and then just price it right and it'll sell right. It's nothing wrong if you've got a spectacular property with trying to push the limits, because there is still and always will be a premium for houses that are really cool, really spectacular, have some nice features and have been kept up well. So don't not price your property well just because of that. Make sure you do that. But that's where I see us going. Please notify your clients and anybody that's out there that's looking to buy or sell. Please feel free to reach out to us at Nationwide. My team and all the agents at Nationwide are qualified and ready to help. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.